Yo, welcome back to another video, and today we have a special one, The Lost Media of Geronimo Stilton. For those who know about Geronimo Stilton, it's one of those books that I would actually read when I was a kid, bro. But I mess with Geronimo Stilton. And, like, I don't know what I'm doing, so let's see what's up. Damn, that was rude.
When I was a kid, I used to love Geronimo Stilton. Do you remember that name? These eccentric children's books were filled to the brim with personality.
Yeah, bro. Was he a real person or was he like a company? I'm not sure why he never got a show, bro. I remember one time I was a kid, bro. I was trying to Google like a Geronimo Stilton show. I'm like, he has to have like at least one season of a show. Like, ain't no way Geronimo Stilton doesn't have a show.
Often accenting important words by giving them completely unique fonts. This meant that the words quite literally looked like they were jumping off the page. These books were filled with charming illustrations, plenty of heart, and lots of humor. But admittedly, I haven't thought about these books in a really long time, probably since I was around 10 years old. Back then, I
Same.
was an absolute bookworm. Reading was my favorite thing in the world. But unfortunately, things have kind of changed. I don't find myself reading much anymore. Somewhere over the years, I totally
Bro, I think I know. For me, I started reading again, but last year, and that was because I was doing something in life. But yeah, I started reading. I'm like, the main problem was I was forced to read as a kid, but I didn't want to read as a kid. But when you get older, it's like you realize that reading's important. So yeah,
forgot
read
about
more.
these books entirely. However, that all changed recently. I won't beat around the bush anymore. You saw the title of this video. Much like how my memories and recollection of these books seemed to fade away without me realizing it, it appears as if some aspects of Geronimo Stilton itself have endured the same fate. So let's take a dive into the lost media of Geronimo Stilton. As a kid, I asked myself where these books came from, but as it turned out, they were from Italy.
That do make sense. His name is Geronimo, and I'm pretty sure like Geronimo means like cannonball and uh another language, Italian.
These books originated in the
Pizza.
late 90s. Elisabetta Adami, the author of these stories, found
Oh,
herself
it's a
unable
girl.
to have children. As a result, she began volunteering at children's hospitals. As she helped these children, she began telling stories of the character Geronimo Stilton.
I thought Geronimo Stilton was like a dude. Mm. Oh, I thought the dude behind who wrote Geronimo Stilton actually looked like a rat with glasses. That's the image I had of bro in my head.
A mouse who always found himself getting into creative, humorous adventures. The kids loved these stories, so Dami began publishing them. The first Geronimo Stilton book was published in 1997, and by the year 2000, they were hugely popular in Italy. This newfound explosive popularity takes us right into our mystery. During the year 2000, the Geronimo Stilton brand seemed to want to expand to the still recent revolution that was the internet. Sometime during the year of 2000, GeronimoStilton.it emerged, being the official website for these books.
Isn't it crazy that this was a person's life? No, no, if I Google something right now, uh, Pokemon, bro, it just pops up. Man, they have to like wait for the atoms to atomize the data to data. Damn, all people had it rough.
The front page has some really charming art that you click on to get to each of the website's sections. One of these sections is the New section. If you click on it, you get this message. When translating it to English, it says, "Dear rodent friends, I have something very important to tell you. From now on, you can read my adventures also in ebook. My ebooks are two: Geronimo Stilton's Illustrated Tales and Geronimo Stilton's Humorous Tales with the Secret Portrait Gallery. You can buy Geronimo Stilton's Illustrated Tales on the internet at cyberread.com. The other one, the one with the Secret Portrait Gallery, will be online very soon. So let's visit cyberread.com. Well, what did I expect? Of course we have to consult the Wayback Machine. Let's go back to...
Oh wait, that's not for the website. It's a website for sale. Oh my! I thought to get in was $8,000. I'm about to like, ain't no drama Stilton's good, but ain't that good.
Well, what did I expect? Of course we have to consult the Wayback Machine. Let's go back to 2000, to the same time where these ebooks were first being sold, and see what CyberRead looked like back then. As you can see, this site was dedicated to offering ebooks online. It seems that there were both paid options as well as free ebooks available on the site. When looking at a list of the most popular ebooks on the site, we can see just how well this one was selling. Geronimo Stilton's Illustrated Tales was the 5th most popular ebook on the entire site during the year 2000. If you decide to click on the ebook, you can read this short description, which seems to provide an overview on what Geronimo Stilton is. It has little to share when it comes to plot details. Of the two ebooks, this one seemed to be much more popular, but I still can't even find what it was about at all. This ebook seems to be completely lost to internet history. All I can find was that it was released during the year 2000. The second, perhaps more elusive ebook was Geronimo Stilton's Humorous Tales with the Secret Portrait Gallery.
Yeah, just a random question for all the people who like are young. But do they still have like books like this, where it's like I know most kids don't like to read, but there are certain books that are just legendary and you have to read at least once in your life. Like back in my day, damn, it was like Captain Underpants, Geronimo Stilton, Big Nate. Y'all know Ball, but oh Big Nate too, Fly Guy. I remember I used to want to read all of them. Dang, where happened to the books, bro? I need something like that
For
again.
this ebook, I wasn't even able to find archived CyberRead pages selling it. The only info I have about it was that initial front page message. That page described it as living up to its title by having some sort of hidden character gallery somewhere in the book. The only other piece of proof that seems to be available regarding this ebook is this newspaper clipping showing a girl holding a tablet that has a cover of the ebook. Not even the year it was...
They had tablets in 2000? Dang, really? I thought those didn't come until like the 2010s.
published is certain. Why have these two ebooks been seemingly wiped from everywhere online? In digging through the internet,
No cap. They need to make a Geronimo Stilton movie. No, crazy a Geronimo Stilton movie would actually go. Bro, they need to make that a TV show or something. Like I already said this, but it's like I would watch it as a grown man.
there were a few more instances of these books being discussed online, mostly coming from Italian magazines and newspapers. Many of these articles describe these ebooks as being the first original ebooks for children. And it's
Type.
here where it's also explained how these books worked. It appears that the Illustrated Tales ebook required you to use Microsoft Reader to read it, while the Secret Portrait Gallery ebook used Glassbook Reader. These articles also described how these ebooks tried to use the online medium they were created with to their advantage. Real ebooks like our Geronimo Stilton's Humorous Tales presented in Frankfurt overcome the structural limits of paper. When you read, when you come across the name of a character, you can continue further or click and get information about him. We've inserted links that tell jokes, and you can add music and animations. The electronic book is a younger child only because it was born after the paper one, but its potential is immense. This was a time when ebooks were still in their infancy and interactive books were basically unheard of. From all accounts, these two ebooks seemed strikingly advanced, with many writers being in awe of them. They were so advanced that it appears that there might have been a partnership with Microsoft tied to them. In this La Stampa News article from 2000, it described Microsoft Italy is actually distributing these ebooks, specifically under some sort of free sample/demo. Another magazine article from 2002 confirms this partnership. I'm not sure as to how exactly these free samples were distributed, which just adds to the mystery even more. The final magazine I was able to find was this PC Open magazine from 2001. As you can see, all the text is in Italian, but when roughly translating it, it essentially shares those details on how to read these ebooks. But at the end it says, PM is working on 20 more new ebooks for children. PM was the publishing company behind these books. Most notably though, this magazine shares a screenshot of the Secret Portrait Gallery book, which is the closest we can get to actually seeing it. Quick addendum, as this video was being made, one more possible instance of proof for these ebooks was discovered, coming from, you guessed it, magazines. In this 2002 magazine, we can see the colorful cast of Geronimo Stilton. Just a year later, another newspaper was published featuring Geronimo Stilton with this image. Unfortunately, I can't 100% confirm if these images do come from these lost ebooks, but
Oh yeah, I'm not talking. I have really nothing to say. I'm really just listening.
it is possible. These ebooks appear to have been available on CyberRead for at least 4 years. In January of 2005, CyberRead appeared to temporarily go offline, which is said to be at around the same time these ebooks were last seen. While that is the main rumor, I wasn't personally able to find exactly when these books may have disappeared. CyberRead stayed active for years after this, but by 2011 it was gone, leaving any possible leads for these two ebooks in the dust.
I just thought about it. Are we just going to talk about the? Hold on, I might be lost. When he said lost media, he didn't mean like Geronimo Stilton like disappeared off the face of the earth. Ooh, I'm kind of slow. I thought he was gonna talk about why Geronimo Stilton stopped or something. I didn't. Oh, but no, let's see what's up.
The erasure of this website has since obscured almost all history of this entire event in the process. This mystery was so obscure that it only ever got found by complete accident. The very first Reddit post about this mystery came in 2024. The Reddit user Visual Aid described the random urge to engage in some Geronimo Stilton nostalgia when I spoke to them. They visited the Wayback Machine for the Geronimo Stilton website, got all
Random, why not go to a library and like get the book? I'm pretty sure it's in a bookstore, unless you're gonna say something like Geronimo Stilton got removed from every bookstore or something. I don't know. But I thought this video would be something else completely.
all the way back to 2000, found that welcome message about the two ebooks, and fell down a rabbit hole by complete accident. Ever since then, he has tried rigorously to get to the bottom of this mystery. The main question here is, why were these ebooks removed from the website? Then, of course, what could have happened to them? If these ebooks were
They
so
got deleted.
popular online, why have they not surfaced? These questions are still unanswered, but there are two prevailing theories as to what might have happened. The first of these has to do with the rigid rules when it came to sharing these ebooks. Supposedly, once the ebooks were purchased, they could not be printed or copied. They could be transferred to another person, but that would lead to the person who purchased it into losing it completely, creating a possibility in which it could not possibly be preserved. This would have been done to attempt to limit piracy and redistribution, but it is possible that this went on to effectively eliminate its existence on the internet. Could this be why, despite these books being so popular, we can't find them anywhere? This is very possible, but there was one other thing happening in the mid-2000s that could potentially help explain why these books became lost media. Geronimo Stilton seemed to have been going through licensing changes in the mid-2000s. I found multiple Italian articles discussing this, as the company Taffy Entertainment was now tasked to oversee most of the worldwide consumer products, licensing, and promotional rights. Could this possibly be why these two ebooks suddenly disappeared off of CyberRead? If that is the case, it is shameful that these two ebooks seemingly got lost in those changes and just weren't ever posted again. However, an ebook isn't the only piece of lost media surrounding Geronimo Stilton. In researching these two lost ebooks, a completely separate lost media mystery tied to Geronimo Stilton was uncovered. This one might be even weirder. During the late 90s, when Geronimo Stilton was exploding in popularity, it appears that an idea for an This one might be even weirder. During the late
Random, fine, bruh. Underrated.
90s,
I
when
ain't gonna
Geronimo
lie.
Stilton was exploding in popularity, it appears that an idea for an animated show sprouted, seeming to be a natural evolution for the character to help him reach an even wider audience. But this cartoon series never came to be. In fact, pretty much all the info about it is extremely mysterious. A few
Damn.
months ago, Visual Aid began digging in the far reaches of Italian Wikipedia and discovered a Wikipedia page under Strano Animation, a former Italian animation studio. It appears to have been a pretty small-scale animation company, without too many credits. Its main credit comes from Ratman, an Italian animated series for children that aired in the mid-2000s. When scrolling through its list of credits, this can still be found. Geronimo Stilton, pilot episode only, 1999, Gertie.
Damn, that seems like such a missed opportunity. Like, John almost on the show, that could have been legendary, especially if it came out at the right time. If it came out during like time where on Cartoon Network or something, where it's like Ben 10, Amazing World of Gumball. Some people will say Adventure Time. I'm not a big fan of Adventure Time, but like in those days where TV was at its peak in the 2010s, before like Netflix came over and like took over, bro, Geronimo Stilton could have been legendary.
No source is provided behind this claim here. With Wikipedia being able to be edited by anybody, this could easily be false, but what would one gain out of staging something like this? Why hide false information in the Wikipedia article of such an obscure animation company? As the search continued, one more article was found, this one also being an Italian Wikipedia page. This time it's for Carlotta Mastrangelo, an author/screenwriter. She doesn't have too many credits, but as we scroll down, what is this that we see? Geronimo Stilton, series pilot, Gertie, Milan, 1999. Once again, there are no sources attached here, but this is now two occurrences of almost the exact same text regarding this esoteric series pilot. The word Gertie appears on both of these series pilot claims, and it appears to be yet another Italian animation studio, though this one is still active. I, as well as Visual Aid, have both reached out to Gertie Studios for more information, but as of now, there has been no response. There is one more animator who seems to have ties to this pilot. Marco A. Zanoni is an Italian animator with quite the massive portfolio. On his website, it seems that he's worked for Netflix, Disney, Studio Ghibli, and
Tarzan 2.
Under this expansive portfolio, one of them stands out. Geronimo Stilton, pilot for TV series. Prod, Gertie, director, storyboard artist. Visual Aid contacted him a few months ago, and he unfortunately did not seem to remember working on it, and didn't have anything he could share about it. Sadly, that promising lead wasn't able to help solve this mystery. The only other bits of proof I've seen surrounding this cartoon is this article from 2002, Italian Mouse Challenges Harry Potter. This article mentions how explosively popular the series is in Italy, and also mentions that there are high expectations for a Geronimo Stilton animated series, set to release in 2004. This series clearly never came to
Yeah, bro. This get the right animation studio behind it, get the right backing. It could have been a competitor. What, 2004? What, Ben 10 came out in 2005? Either Geronimo Stilton would have been underrated, one of those shows that just completely under the radar. But if you know about it, you know it's peak. Or it could have been king. Missed opportunity.
be, but
Dude.
this article shows that rumors were clearly buzzing throughout Italy at this time.
Quick addendum yet again while editing. It appears that we have found where these Wikipedia articles may have gotten their sources from. Before Strano Animation shut down, they used to have a website. In an archive from 2001, we can see this. Geronimo Stilton, 1999, production Gertie, Danny editor. Directed by Marco Zanoni, author Elizabeth Danny. Pilot episode of a 26x26 TV series. Astronomy has created layout, animation, intercalation, cleanup, and line test. This is possibly the biggest find so far when it comes to this animated pilot, because it seems to confirm just how much work may have been done here. And then, it includes an image that we thought was from the ebooks. While this is unquestionably our best piece of proof so far, this pilot remains completely lost.
Get a spoonful of syrup.
Years later, in 2009, a Geronimo Stilton animated series did actually happen.
What's it called? Hold on, let's go back.
Completely lost.
Years later, in 2009, a Geronimo Stilton animated series did actually happen. This cartoon appeared to be finally that colorful, charming adaptation that Geronimo Stilton always deserved, and it was a success. This cartoon ran from 2009 all the way to 2017.
Bro, 78 episodes. What's it called? I'm gonna find it.
On Netflix for a while. This show appears to have next to no connection to the Lost Media pilot that we have been discussing. Completely different animation studios and staff worked on this show compared to all the names and studios we went over previously. So the main mystery appears to be whether there ever was even a pilot at all. It appears that plans for a Geronimo Stilton series were definitely happening in the late 90s. It even looks like these plans may have gotten pretty far. We have names for staff that supposedly were going to work on the series, even including the animation studio. But with nobody seeming to remember it, I wonder if these plans wound up getting pushed back or halted in some way. Of course, if anybody watching this has any details regarding this animated pilot, please feel free to reach out on all of our socials that are going to be linked all in the description below. As the leads towards these two lost media mysteries come to a halt, I feel like my nostalgic yet fractured memories of Geronimo Stilton have become even more relevant to this search. I was first drawn to this mystery for the same reason that I'm sure many of you guys were. I just hadn't thought of Geronimo Stilton in such a long time.
Bro, it does actually a Geronimo Stilton show, bro. I need to watch it. Like I've been saying this whole video. Geronimo Stilton was peak as a kid. I used to actually stay up to, you know that book I've been showing y'all? I actually used to stay up to read it. Like actually during a school night, I would be up. I couldn't use my iPad. I'm reading. I'm gonna finish that book. That's how good Geronimo Stilton was.
I got nostalgic and then fascinated that a series like this could have lost media attached to it. In reality, though, this is by no means as flashy as most lost media mysteries you will find. At the end of the day, we went over 2 obscure ebooks and an animated pilot that might not have even ever happened. Most of the lost media we get so interested in is because of the allure behind them, the unknown origins of the most famous creepypasta image, or the sense of wonder you can feel when thinking about what London after midnight may have been like. But in reality, most lost media is much more like this Geronimo Stilton case. They surround the things we seem to collectively forget about becoming lost without anyone ever realizing it at all. They take form in the types of things we don't even think to archive. I'm sure that the vast majority of the people who read these books on Cyberread were children, so when these books suddenly disappeared, nobody really questioned it. They were just slowly forgotten. Really, this all makes me think about how many things out there are lost with really similar, mundane stories like this and nobody to look for them. I think it's fascinating to think of not only how much human history the internet holds.
Yeah, no cap. If a studio wants to make some money, they need to get on Geronimo Stilton. They need to buy. I don't care if it's Disney. I don't care if it's Marvel. It can be anything. It can be Mappa for all I care, bro. Bring back, make a Geronimo Stilton show for me. Like I need to see Geronimo
It also
Stilton
felt
on
like it could
TV.
become lost at time without anybody noticing. I hope that the lost media of Geronimo Stilton does not suffer the same fate. So if you know of any details related to these 2 ebooks or the lost pilot, I would love to know more about it. Please feel free to reach out to me on any of my social medias, just like I said. Let's solve the lost media of Geronimo Stilton once and for all. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like
Well, anyway, that's the end of the video, and bro, there's really a Geronimo Stilton show out there. Yeah, I'm gonna need to find that. But anyway, shout out Geronimo Stilton for all the good times I had as a kid. And that will be the end of this video.